Wombat Jones for Ramen Chokehold here with one of my favourite men in the whole game. I'm here with Nathan, the Vanilla Gorilla Reddy. How you going, champion?
And how you going? Going good?
Mate, I'm always good. You should know me. I'm always fucking good, mate. But it's good. It's good to see you again, brother.
Pleasure to be on here with you, mate.
Mate, you're always welcome, Nate. Last time I seen you, we actually had a little bit of a spot of lunch over there in Narellan. Where was it? Where'd you take me? What fancy place was that again?
Upstairs, Fred's. Not a bad,
Upstairs.
not a bad little spot.
Yeah, it was good, mate. Like, I think I just remember the black beer that I got. It was so smooth. It was nice. It took about 4 hours for them to give it to me, and then I turned it around, and it was like 3.4 standard drinks. And I'm like, "Fuck, I got to drive home yet."
And I was trying to feed you up, man. Yeah, no, he's a chef. So if you take Wombat out for lunch, he's going to criticize every single little thing that comes out. So we ended up getting tappers that day. We had like 20 lots of different tappers, and I swear he had 3 things to say about each one of them. So that filled up the whole day. We didn't even get to talk to each other. We were just talking about the food that was in front of us. Anyway,
but honestly, was I not what I was saying correct? Come on.
100% correct.
Now, man, I've got you on the line because you got a big fight coming up next week at Hex Fight Series 16 down there at the Melbourne Pavilion. It always happens down there, September 8th. And they're bringing over an opponent for you from India in Parminder Singh.
Yeah.
Mate, what do you know about this dude? What's going on there?
There's not really much to know about him. He's had one MMA fight that looked a bit rough to me, and they said that he won by tomorrow. But looking at the fight, the footage that I can see, there was definitely no submission. There was a lot of punches going on. But I watched the pro boxing fight that he had last year, and that's pretty much all that's on him. He's a southpaw boxer, but when he come walking out with the boxing fight, the promoters, the commentators, I should say, were talking about his amateur career. So he's got an extensive amateur career with over 30 wins and so many knockouts and all that sort of stuff. So no one really tells you this sort of stuff. You sort of got to dig yourself. So this is going to be an exciting fight.
So what are you looking to do then? Do you just worry about yourself? You know, when you're training, you're not looking to sort of counter whatever he's got. You're just looking to put on your game?
Yeah, well, my game's just going to evolve around him being a stand-up southpaw boxer. So now most of the stuff that, like, my right hand's going to be used a lot. I'm going to be circling the left, not to the right. Just little things like that. And obviously put him off his boxing game. I mean, I know a lot of boxers don't like kicks. They don't like to grapple. They don't like all that sort of stuff. So let's mix it up a bit today. Next week, I should say.
And speaking of kicks, I mean, last time I seen you fight, I had the pleasure of commentating it as well, where you defended your Urban Fight Night belt, and you took on Randall Ray, who's one of the OGs in the game as well. And and to win your belt, you actually beat Duke Didier as well. Shout out to Duke; he's a good bloke. And you stopped his unbeaten run, so you're on fire. You've defended your belt now. You know, you really got Randall with a lot of low calf kicks in that. Can we see a lot of more? I was really impressed with that in your game there. I mean, we don't want to give too much away, but I'm pretty sure Parminder Singh's not going to catch this interview, mate, so we can give some juicy goss.
All credit to Randall Ray. I love the guys. I've always looked up to him. He was actually one of the first guys that I watched fight when I was an amateur fighter, and he was my goal as a personal fighter to reach him, just to fight him. Wouldn't have mattered if I won or lost. It just to actually get to that level to fight him was a goal for me. So me and the team achieved that. So that was one thing ticked off at least. Nothing taken away from Randall. He's always a tough opponent to anyone. I've seen him worry people. So it was good. But I definitely had to mix it up. I'm good friends with his coaches, Ash and Suman. So I knew they were going to try and we actually trained together on regular occasions. And I knew that they were going to try and counter me a little bit. So I had to try and mix it right up, which was a little bit. If you watch the fight, it's very technical. It's much more technical than a brawl, which is it was exciting. It was actually an exciting fight.
And mate, not only that, but you got another past opponent that's actually your only loss on your record in Jimmy the Brute Crude, who's just won and he's got his UFC contracts. He could be fighting in UFC Adelaide. But you took him on in your third fight. That was only your third fight. What do you say, you know, does that sort of spur you on to know that you were that close? And, you know, how do you think the fight would go down if you actually fight again?
Yeah, definitely, man. All credits to Jimmy. He definitely deserves to be in the UFC, and I can't wait for him to really take hold of the light heavyweights in that division in the UFC. I feel like he can go a long way. Young kid, plenty of potential, so much ahead of him. You know what? I've got really nothing bad to say about that, guys. really good. I just didn't turn up on the night. Fight's a fight. The way I see it, it's a 50-50 chance of winning. You got to turn up. You got to want it more than the other guy. No matter what happens in your training camp or whatever, you have to turn up on the night. I just don't feel like I turned up, and he turned up. Ever since then, I've been working extremely hard on my wrestling and ground game. I feel like that's where it sort of let me down. That aspect of it. Even though I lost on the feet, the majority of the fight I was on my back, and I feel like that's where I lost the fight mentally. So we've been working a lot of that, and it's paid out in the last 4 fights. I've got 2 submissions, so we're going to keep working.
And I think more to my point though, like I definitely wasn't trying you to put shit on Jimmy. Jimmy's my boy. I love Jimmy. Shout out Jimmy. But don't start shit with me, mate. but more to the point, what I meant was, like, how close do you think you are? You know, you're 6-1 as a pro. You've won a belt. You've defended it. You're now the #1 ranked light heavyweight in the country. You know, you must be feeling like you're pretty darn close.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm close, man. I feel like I'm on edge. I'm on edge. It's tough, but you know what's tough? It's tough to be fighting. I know I can make it. I've had 2 promotions pull out. We've not been able to get matched up. I've been matched up, and they've changed opponents, and they're pulling out. Everyone's pulling out. They're front and center, and I just feel like I'm right there. I'm right at the door, but I'm trying to get the right fights to get in there, and no one seems to be wanting to fight anyone these days, and it's making it really hard. But I'm really pumped that Hex has jumped up, and now they're bringing guys international for me, and so now it's time for me to step up. So I feel like a couple more decent fights, and I'm there. Hopefully, you can all.
What was that, mate?
You can all see me in the UFC very soon. I'll be real pumped with that.
Yeah, 100%. Where everyone would be, mate, and that's because you're in the community a lot. We see you at the local shows quite a bit because you actually own a gym in Triple X Fight Academy. I'm sure I brought that up last time I interviewed you, but mate, you've moved into a new facility now. I interviewed you at your old facility. I think it was the week before you were actually moving. So you've been in your new facility now, probably around about 5 or 6 months now, and it looks freaking amazing. I'm definitely going to have to come in next time and get the full tour. But what's it like? You're starting to produce some fighters now. You're going to all the fight shows. You know, what's going on in the gym at the moment?
Yeah, definitely, man. We don't just have fighters here now. We've got a full strength and performance center. So we got pro wrestlers, we got strongmen, we got all sorts of aspects. We got bodybuilders and all that downstairs with the performance side. We got people trying to jump high and run fast, and we can put that into our MMA game, which is great. So the boys upstairs are coming downstairs, and we're mixing it right up. But definitely got a whole heap of young fighters coming through. Boys are doing Muay Thai fights, they're doing boxing fights, they're doing grappling competitions, everything that you need to do to become an MMA fighter. There's stuff that we didn't have when we were younger, like all this sort of stuff. We didn't know that we could. Like I used to box, so I used to do my own boxing amateur fights and this and that. But these kids these days are sort of trying to look for something where they can get their foot in the door for MMA, but it's tough because it's sort of that next element, and it's like they're almost there, but they're just scared to get in the cage. Like the whole cage thing still scares a lot of people away. But the way we're going, I feel like we're on the right track with the local events, with the Muay Thai and boxing, like I said. And now everyone's getting the confidence. They're doing that confidence up. They're jumping the cage. But we've got some really good fighters coming out of this gym right now. One in particular, Caleb Crazy Horse Rider. He's got his pro debut coming up day before my fight, so the 7th of September at the Croatian Club in Punchbowl on Super Fight. He's got a tough opponent who's having a pro debut also. I feel like this kid has the potential to go a long way, but not just him. There's a lot of kids here that are on the same path that he is. A lot of them are just following the footsteps, and I feel like the potential is going to be unbeatable very soon.
And especially in the area that your gym's in Smeaton Grange. I mean, that's basically, I grew up in Sydney, and if I was still living in Sydney, I'd probably be living somewhere in that area. That's just kind of the natural progression of the population of my era is sort of out there and maybe a little bit younger. So you're really tapping into the youth out there. I mean, UFC's now been around in Australia since 2010. So, you know, are you really starting to see, you know, kids from that area take MMA up as opposed to maybe cricket or footy or something like that?
Yeah, well, 100%. There's a lot of things that happen. We get schools coming down now, right? And instead of doing like your normal cardio sessions, I've actually made up my own little thing where it's like an MMA. I can't remember what I called it. It was more like an introduction to MMA. So I just showed them real basic, obviously not hitting each other or nothing like that, but they're getting the groundwork and they're getting the wall work and they're getting the pad work and all that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of different partner work without too much contact. And they're loving it. Like they're actually loving the sport because they've actually got an introduction into it rather than just seeing on TV and the brutality that everyone sees, which is not really the case. It's definitely not the case that I see. And now they're all paying attention to that and really taking on with it. Like they're going right ahead with it, which is good to see, especially from school kids. Imagine learning this when you were in school.
Mate, that would have been, it would have been a little bit better than squash or whatever the fuck I used to play.
Squash too. I was never that.
Oh, mate, I'll take you on in that. We'll have a little competition in that, baby.
We're going to have a squash off.
We'll have a squash off. Don't you worry about that, fella. Mate, I haven't played in about 10 years, but I'm quite confident that I still... No, I'm not confident at all. Fuck it.
I don't even know if I'm about to hit the ball.
But that's quite interesting that you talk about the schools. I mean, how did that even come about? And this might be a good shout out to all the other gyms out there that might be looking to get into this, because obviously you think MMA and you think schools and you think, politically correctness, they're never going to allow that. But obviously they're now coming into your gym. So how did that all come about?
Well, how it sort of happened is we get a lot of football teams down here. So with the football teams, one of the football teams was actually a school that come down and they got a big football-based school. And now they've actually come down as a sport, not the football team itself, but the actual school students as a sport, and they can actually elect it to do the sport. So now they've come down. They come down pretty much every Thursday to do it. But I just wanted to make it. I was actually just going to keep it kickboxing. I was a bit nervous to do it myself, so I was just going to keep it like a kickboxing with pad work and all that. And I thought, hey, you know what? Let's really introduce the whole. Because you've got to understand, MMA is not brutal. It's a martial art. It's a lot of elements of martial arts. And what's the best thing about martial arts? When you learn a martial arts, one of the first things that you learn is like being humble and being respectful and all that sort of stuff. And that's the sort of stuff that we need to start teaching these kids. A lot of them are just textbook kids and iPad kids, and a lot of them don't really have that social communication these days. Where you're coming to MMA and you're teaching people what to do it. And then you see the kids that you've shown something to, they're trying to teach the other kids, and they're actually getting more social and more, how can I put it, more confident with the way they're talking, and they're actually socializing as a group rather than like we are right now on the computer screen, right?
Well, that's the way of the world these days, isn't it? But like what you're saying is totally right. I mean, these days kids, because they're so into video games and iPads and all that sort of shit, they don't really have those communication skills like what when we grew up, because you're kind of my age, you're a couple of years behind me, but don't worry. But you know what I mean? Like back in our day, we used to have to communicate, go out, play sport and talk and etc. These days, you're just looking at a damn screen. So it kind of makes sense what you're saying.
It's crazy. But then and not just that part of it, now they're learning a martial art. Now they're actually learning a martial art and they're actually enjoying it. So obviously it's hard for MMA. Like you've got the jiu-jitsu martial art of it. You might do some wrestling. You might do, obviously wrestling's not a martial art, but really it should be. It's its own element of a mixed martial art. And then you've got judo, and then you've got your boxing, then you've got your kickboxing. There's a lot of elements that go into place. So I'm trying to just roll into it nice and slow with these kids. And you know what? Every session that I come to, they're just growing. They're loving it. They're absolutely loving it every session. I'd recommend it to anyone. I'd literally recommend it to anyone.
Fantastic, mate. Now, if you want to check it out, where can we find the gym down in Smeaton Grange there, Triple X Fight Academy?
Fight Academy is at Unit 1 of 147 Smeaton Grange Road in Smeaton Grange. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Triple X Fight Academy, and Instagram, Triple X Fight Academy.
And here's a little special ramen chokehold deal for anyone out there who's in the area. I haven't even talked to him about this, but I'm sure he'll back me up on it. I'll give you a whole 3 weeks training to go out and check the gym out to see if you like it or not. And I'm telling you, you'll love it. So do you back that up, Reddy?
I'll back it up with an extra 3 weeks on top of that. Why don't we do 2 free weeks?
There it is. 2 free weeks if you're down there, Triple X Fight Academy. That's fantastic. Look at what I've set up for everyone. Look, if you're in the area, go and check him out. Go and check the gym out. It's a fantastic spot. And, mate, next week, Parvinder Singh down at the Melbourne Pavilion, September 8th for Hex Fight Series 16. All the best, my man. Best of skill. Get down there, do your thing, and get close to that UFC contract.
Thank you very much, bro. Thank you for the time for the interview. I appreciate it.
Anytime, brother. You're welcome back.
Legend. Cheers, mate.